Hello there guys, this is the actual third time I've tried to shoot this video. It's because the video I'm trying to shoot is off Keir Starmer's speech from today, and this guy winds me up to a point where no one should ever wind me up that much. From his look to the sound of his droning voice, he really annoys me. So I'm trying to react to this video. Now, with me doing it 3 times, I have seen the video now. And hopefully I won't get as irate as I did. But we shall see.
And welcome. Sunshine, no rain, no wind. Probably tempting fate, but it's really good to see you all here, see familiar faces in this garden. So thank you so much for coming along this morning. When I stood on the steps of Downing Street, just over there 2 months ago, I promised that this government would serve people like you. Apprentices, teachers, nurses, small business owners, firefighters, those serving our community and our country every day. I promised that we would get a grip on the problems that we face.
Yeah, you are the problem that we face. You really are. He doesn't get it. This guy has no self-awareness at all.
And that we would be judged by our actions, not by our words.
He's got that 100% right. He is going to be judged by his actions, and that judgment will come to pass.
I said before the election, and I say it again really clearly today, growth, and frankly by that I do mean wealth creation, is the #1 priority of this Labour government.
When he says wealth creation, to whom is he creating wealth for? Because it's not the citizens of the UK. In fact, half our taxpayers' money goes abroad to other things, Ukraine for one. Now, you think about it. In the UK, on a yearly average, the UK taxpayer brings in around about 820 something billion pounds. Where does it go? Wealth.
And that's why in our first few weeks, we've set up the National Wealth Fund, because we want every person and every community to benefit.
He's missed a trick there, couldn't he? He could have called it the National Wealth Service. Sorry.
It's why we've unlocked planning decisions, because we're going to build 1.5 million new homes.
Are we, Keir? Be honest. No, you're not. And if he does, they're not for me and you. We've already seen the new social housing reform. We don't come into it.
It's why we set up Great British Energy, to create good jobs and cut people's bills. And it's why we ended the national strikes that have crippled our country for years.
Now, he ended the national strikes. What he means is he bent the knee again. What happens when you keep giving in to strikes? They constantly strike for more. He's got into bed with the unions, and he's given them exactly what they want. Do you know, if he keeps going the way he is, our doctors and nurses are going to quit their jobs to become train drivers, because the pay increase he's given train drivers is fucking ridiculous. Now, I'm not a big fan of striking to get what you want, especially the way they strike. I've always had this problem. Doctors and nurses, do you know, I was against it for a while, because they start, everybody starts. Now, I've always been in the mindset, you know the kind of job you're training for. You know what you're going for. You know what that job pays, what it entails and what it pays. And doctors and nurses, especially junior doctors, yes, and nurses, they run on low incomes to start, but as time progresses, they get more. But now, when I see what he's doing with pay increases across the board, I'm like, no, them. Give that pay increase to the doctors and nurses. And that's only if the doctors and nurses become fit for service again. because I don't know if it's the doctors and nurses that's the problem or the government. But the healthcare system is substandard at the minute. It really is. It's the same as every service. It's the same as the economy as a whole. You get nothing what you pay for nowadays. And there is no duty of care by anybody, least of all the police. The police are absolutely ridiculous. Surely you must be embarrassed about your job at this point. If you don't know what I'm on about, look beyond the news, beyond mainstream media. Look at X. Dig through the internet. Look at proper articles of how the police are doing two-tier policing. It is ridiculous the amount of crime running rampant on our streets. You have British citizens going to jail for Facebook posts, while you have rapists and child offenders walking out with suspended sentences, doing no jail time. You have Keir Starmer emptying the prisons of violent criminals to place people for Facebook crimes and protesting. Let that sink in. And the police have also got a system in place where they, instead of prosecuting, they decide not to prosecute and charge. As long as you say sorry, they've got the power to let you go. It doesn't matter the amount of sex offenders they've let off, violent offenders they've let off. The legal system is an absolute joke. It really is. Anyway, I'm going to get back on this video before I go back off on another trot and have to do this video for a fourth time.
Because I defy anyone to tell me that you can grow the economy when people can't get to work because the transport system is broken, or can't return to work because they're stuck on an NHS waiting list.
Right. Whether the transport system goes on strike or not, they are still unreliable. There's an underlying issue with the transport system. Number one. Number two, the NHS crisis isn't just due to funding, is it? There is a lot of pressure on the NHS because, let's just say, some medical treatment went awry, which give us an influx of people with new illnesses who otherwise wouldn't have had illnesses. Let's keep it level and realistic and truthful. That would be a good start.
We've done more in 7 weeks than the last government did in 7 years.
He's right. Tories tried to fuck up the UK in 7 years, actually in 14 years, I think. So he's 100% right. Labour's managed to do it in 7 weeks. In 7 weeks of Labour, the UK is an absolute fucking shithole. It is a powder keg. He has destroyed this country in such a short time. And if you don't realise how bad he is, you need to look into it. This is my point. I said when we're going through the elections, you know, the mainstream media, which are pure evil, turn off your tellies, chuck them out the fucking window. But the mainstream media always have this two-party system. You know, I think there was 11 plus parties in this election. I don't know if you're aware of that. But when you listen to the mainstream media, you'll hear Labour, Tories. This year in particular, we did get a little bit of reform getting in the news. But as a rule, it's Labour and Tory. Now, Labour won it with 20% of the UK vote. Think about it. They're in power despite 80% of the country not voting for them. We had the lowest voter turnout in God knows how long because nobody has faith in this election process. No one has faith in democracy. And I'll tell you why, because democracy is a lie. You look at any democratic process. You look at the states right now. You look at the Democrats, which the irony is there is nothing democratic about what they've just done to install Kamala Harris. And like I said, Labour only got 20% of the votes, and that wasn't because people wanted Labour. A majority of them people just didn't want the Tories anymore. So you've got no bragging rights, Keir. Nobody likes you. Nobody. But I did say from the start, Labour would be the worst ones to vote for. But people's got to be people.
And these are just the first steps towards the change that people voted for, the change that I'm determined to deliver.
Yeah. Really? People voted for your change? I call bullshit. One, like I've just stated, very few people voted. And they did not vote for your manifesto. Everything you've said to the British people's a lie. It really is. Before he starts again, in fact, in my honest opinion, he hates the British people. Keir Starmer is a WEF globalist. Nothing more, nothing less. He does not care about the UK. In his acceptance speech, when he first came into power on the 5th of July, he talked about change and needing a big reset. Where have we heard that before? And then we have this whole prison reform now, like, I had to react to the riots. This prison reform, it was on the very top of his agendas of his very first speech on the 6th of July. Now, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I would say almost planned. But hey, so nothing this guy does is organic. Nothing at all. He's running to a schedule. And to be honest, Labour as a whole are not the brightest tools in the shed. Look at Diane Abbott. Where is Diane Abbott, by the way? I haven't seen her for a long time. And now look at David Lammy. Is it David Lammy? That guy is an absolute moron. But when they're messing up, you'll have people coming out and say, oh, they're making mistakes, they don't know how to do it, and they're not very good at politics. You don't think they're making all these mistakes by accident, do you? You really need to entertain the fact that it's not an accident. Nothing of what is happening now is an accident.
Before the election, I also gave a warning. I said change would not happen overnight.
But it did. It really did. Change happened literally overnight. Do you know, we now have these rules which prevent you from posting your opinions. We have people going to jail for posting on Facebook their opinions. Not so much inciting violence. That is an excuse to get the foot in the door. Now they are going on about anti-establishment. Well, Keir, if we go on that level, I guess I'm... But I tell you, brother, I don't care. From me to you, I've got nothing to lose. I've been preparing for you for a long time. The only thing I've got to lose is my children, and I'm prepared to stand up to you to protect them, to protect their futures, because you are going to ruin everything, you and your cronies. So, you know, I'm not hiding my face. I do have a faceless channel, but that gets no traction. I wonder why. And I'll tell you now that, given my opinion, it's not illegal. For me to commit an illegal action, I need intention and knowledge of criminality. I've got no intention to commit a criminal act, and I have no knowledge that I am. But you can come at me. You can put me in your prisons. You might find a good rapist or something you can release to put me in instead. Seems like a fair swap, doesn't it? It has never been illegal to criticise the people that work for us. And you do. You work for the people. It is never illegal for us to criticise you. You are a dictator.
When there's a deep rot at the heart of a structure, you can't just cover it up. You can't just tinker or rely on quick fixes. You have to overhaul the entire thing.
Like a reset.
Tackle it at root, even if it's harder work and takes more time.
Keir, how much time do you think you've got in this government? 7 weeks in, you are pretty much the worst Prime Minister in British history, I think. You have no support. Your approval rating has dropped significantly. Nobody likes you. Nobody likes your policies. Nobody likes anything you're trying to enact. So if you're going to come and say that this is going to be a lengthy process to get everything sorted and will take 10 years, you've got no chance. I'm under no illusion. Once you get your way, because I said to someone I was with before that the way this year was going, by the end of this year, it's going to ramp up significantly. I've been waiting for you, Keir. And I said it was going to ramp up and we're going to see the worst year ever by the back end of this year. We're in August. And again, I've been proved right, or being proved right.
Because otherwise, what happens? The rot returns in all the same places.
This rot won't return. Like I said, he's not going to have the time. I wouldn't put it by him to try and do away with elections, but let's just say he doesn't. Is he so delusional that come 2029 and we have another general election, he legitimately thinks he stands a chance? In my actual opinion, he has not just ruined his reputation, he has ruined the Labour Party as a whole. I can't see the nation trusting Labour ever again. They're a party that is never going to regain traction. They're an obsolete party, or they will be.
And it spreads worse than before. You know that. I know that. And that's why this project has always been about fixing the foundations of our country. But I have to be honest with you. Things are worse than we ever imagined.
No shit. The country was fine, even under the Tories. As much as that pains me to say, I'm not going to lie. I miss Boris Johnson. And I didn't have a nice word for Boris Johnson. Maybe it's because he got the rough end of COVID. But Rishi Sunak, no. Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer are cut from the same cloth. But Keir Starmer is slightly worse. He is an issue, right? I've said this many a time. When it comes to the extremes, I'm talking far left and far right, these people should not be able to hold positions of influence or power. Not at all. Because when you're on these extremes, you cannot see the other side. You cannot hear the other side. All you hear is your beliefs, your rhetoric, your ideologies. You get someone that's right-leaning, left-leaning. I'll get that with the right hand. You get some right-leaning, left-leaning. Fair enough. You can see each other's arguments. You can work together. You can see and fix something that works, that's amicable. But when you're on the far end of the extremes, either right or left, you cannot. So, for future reference, Keir, when we get you out of power and we fix this country, we are going to make it right. And in the future, there will be no extreme left and extreme right in positions of influence and power, especially the left. The left are ridiculous. The far right get called racist, get called Nazis, get called all of this. And, you know, it's like these parties, these left and right divides, they are just like everyday people. How many times have you walked down the street and someone's took a dislike to you and pointed something out they didn't like about you? Now, you generally find 9 times out of 10, there's nothing wrong with you. They don't even know you. They are projecting. Whatever they dislike about themselves, they project onto you. Whatever they do themselves, they project onto you, which is exactly what these people do. Because in my eyes, there is nothing more racist than the extreme left. The extreme left, to me, are terrorists, in my honest opinion. I bet you don't like that, do you, Keir? You socialist. So, in my eyes, the left is a real danger. We get a lot of the right. I'm right. I'm not extreme right, but I am right-leaning. Here's the thing. A lot of the things the left believe in, so do I. I believe in diversity. I believe in equality. I believe in inclusivity, but I believe in them foundationally, how they should be. I do not exclude people from diversity. I do not exclude people from inclusion. Ironic, isn't it? And I do not exclude anyone from equality. A lot of the left, us on the right, hold the same values, but you guys you take something beautiful and make it ugly. And then you blame the opposition for it. But yeah, interesting that.
In the first few weeks, we discovered a £22 billion black hole in the public finances.
Here's his excuse.
And before anyone says, oh, this is just performative.
This is just performative.
or playing politics?
You're playing politics.
Let's remember, the OBR did not know about it.
No. You mean there's governmental money unaccounted for, squandered, wasted, lost? Keir Starmer, I'm shocked.
They wrote a letter setting that out.
Dear OBR, we have lost some pennies. Could you please find my pennies? Signed, Keir. Oh, sorry, Wishy-washy.
They didn't know because the last government hid it. And even last Wednesday, just last Wednesday, we found out that thanks to the last government's recklessness, we borrowed almost £5 billion more than the OBR expected in the last 3 months alone.
Now, he also forgot to mention that he sends $3 billion a year to Ukraine and countless amounts of money to God knows what outside of the country. Very, very little, if any, of the UK tax money goes to the UK people. So when he's on this band of slapping down the Tories for their misuse of funds, then hypocrite comes to mind.
That's not performative, that's fact. But as well as the things that we've discovered, we've also seen shocking scenes across the nation. A mindless minority of thugs.
Ah, now he's getting to the left in the other community riots.
Who thought that they could get away with causing chaos, smashing up communities and terrifying minorities, vandalising and destroying people's property.
Oh, BLM. I thought he was on about someone else then.
Even trying to set fire to a building with human beings inside it.
Now, I will come out and say that is wrong. And I'm going to stand firm and say that violence is not a way to fix your issues. Violence is only ever a last resort. And protests are fine. I'm quite in favour of protests. I've said for a long time we need change. But if we were to go and make that change at the time when I said it, we would lose because there wasn't enough of us. But now, over the past 3 months alone, the amount of people waking up to the bullshit, it's astounding. It's encouraging. I'm not going to stand and say other communities are our enemy. We need each other right now because we have a common enemy. They see us, and I mean us, as the enemy. Right now, it's the UK people. The other communities are serving a purpose. Once you've served your purpose, then they will turn on you too. I'll just leave that there.
And as if that wasn't despicable enough, people displaying swastika tattoos.
Right, let's address these riots because I did a few videos, like I said, on the other channel that went nowhere. These were riots caused by the British people being fed up. We had, I think it was 14 years or so of the Tories. We got nowhere. Yes, a lot of people fought against immigration. Now, when I say immigration, I don't mean standard immigration. And where I stand on that is legal immigration gets vetted. No one has a problem with legal immigration. People take issue with illegal immigration. 1, for the economic impact it has, and 2, for the safety of the public. That is what people have an issue with. But they can't understand this because it works against their narrative. Now, I use narrative a lot, and you'll also find I use pattern a lot because I'm a pattern person. And I know I piss particular people off with that, but I am. I see patterns where there shouldn't really be patterns. And I'm not the only one. Anyone in the truth circle is the same. But no one has a problem with legal migration. In my area, we have not a huge Muslim population, but we do. And I've never had a problem with any of them. In all honesty, I haven't. In fact, I did a consensus of where they stand on Keir Starmer, so I've asked a few people. And in my local area, considering we're not really affected as much so far by the issues, the consensus still is he is a prick. He is. And I've asked a few Muslims, because the Muslims are the guys, the communities that Keir Starmer protects. So I asked a few of them what they thought of Keir Starmer. He's a little weak pussy, man. Nobody likes him. There's no way of hiding it, is there? Nobody likes him. Nobody has faith in him. Nobody takes him seriously. So, sorry, this is more of a rant from me again. Isn't it? I'm going to record this video again, I think.
Shouting racist slurs on our streets. Nazis.
When it comes to racism, I'm going to address this right here. I will admit, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, we may have had a racist problem. I don't know, because I wasn't around in these times. But I find it hard to believe that we didn't, especially if you believe the narrative of history, if you believe history as presented. But over the decades, racism really eased. You know, everybody has friends. Everybody has friends of different ethnic backgrounds, different religions, different sexualities. A large majority of the population have mixed friends from mixed backgrounds, either sexually or racially or religiously. Everyone has friends that's different. It is the government that use identity politics all of the time. They use race for everything. They race bait. Now, it is this government that is causing the racial divides. Because let's be honest, if you're out with a group of friends, right, you have a black friend, an Asian friend, a Muslim friend, a Christian friend, a gay friend, a transsexual friend, you're all out for a few drinks. Do you see the differences in your friends you drink with all the time? Or do you just see friends? Now, I'm going to assume a lot of you just say, we see friends. So there's no need to focus on what makes you different, is there? No? So why does the government do it? Why does the government push it like that? Why does the government make it so unbalanced? You look at it this way. If you want to create a divide, you treat one set of people above another set of people, so we have total differences. Then what you're going to do is cause resentment from one set of people towards the others. It is the same as parenting two children and favouring one child, where one child gets spoiled rotten, gets everything they want, the other child gets nothing. What do you think happens in that situation? Well, it's quite simple, isn't it? You have sibling rivalry that goes to the extreme. And this is what your government is causing. Anyway, we'll get back to the video. I apologise.
Salutes at the senator. The senator.
This bit really bugged me earlier. I went into a proper rant. I do not appreciate Keir Starmer talking about our veterans, because our veterans laid down their lives to save this country, to protect our freedoms. Now we have this soulless globalist taking our freedoms away and mentioning our veterans. How? Just don't care. Really don't.
The very place we honour those who gave their lives for this country.
He honours veterans that much, he's happy for them to sleep on the street. The amount of money we waste, the amount of money we wasted in COVID just on the useless track and trace app could have cured homelessness. Let that sink in. They don't want to tackle homelessness. A lot of our veterans live on the streets. So when he talks about veterans, when any politician talks about veterans, it really riles me up. Really does.
Creating their memory under the pretence, and it is a pretence, of legitimate protest.
UK, it was not under pretence of a legitimate protest. It was a legitimate protest. When the British people see their children dying in the streets, young girls getting raped, young girls getting groomed, and for you to call out these riots, you fucking hypocrite. In 2020, a black career criminal died in the United States. Check the coroner's report, a fentanyl overdose. Now, this played into a lovely little narrative, didn't it? Because George Soros got his Antifa boys out and just rebranded them Black Lives Matter. And even here in the UK, we've seen destruction, we've seen violence on a scale we hadn't seen in a long time. And you took the knee for a career criminal. We had 3 little girls murdered, and we protested. And your mainstream media showed one side of the narrative. This is why you hate X, isn't it? Because X showed the other side. And you didn't like that. Because you bend the knee to everything that's wrong. Everything that is right and just, you snub. And you criticise and criminalise. So no, these weren't under pretense. All the stabbings we've had over the past couple of weeks, not many of them make the mainstream media. You can bet they make alternative media. And we have had loads. You too busy talking about Ukraine. So don't you dare say that the British people use death as an excuse.
Now they're learning that crime has consequences.
Crime doesn't have consequences at all. Facebook memes getting 24 months. Rapists, sex offenders, violent criminals released from prison to make room for non-criminals. You have people going up in front of a judge under sexual offence charges and getting 2 months suspended sentences and walking out. Where's Ricky Jones? On all these fast-track court appearances and sentencing for all the right people who were protesting or posting on Facebook. You had Ricky Jones calling for extreme violence against his opponents, and he's out on bail. Now, what is it? If you stand and observe a protest, you don't get bail.
That I won't tolerate a breakdown in law and order under any circumstances.
Keir, I'm going to tell you something. Law and order works as, I don't know if you're aware, it's more of a social contract. And by that, people accept it because it both protects and punishes in equal measure. When it no longer operates that way, when it is unfair and unjust and weaponized against people, the rule of law goes out the window. And you have weaponized the whole judicial system. You really have. You have made judges a laughingstock around the world. On the world stage, people are laughing at the UK. Police. This hurts. Because I'll be honest, when I was younger, I wanted to be a police officer, and I'm glad that I didn't. Because right now, I would say it's an embarrassing career. I get a lot of frontline officers have got to protect their pension. I get that. But at one point, morals has to take over. Morals can cost you a lot. I live on my morals. I have nothing. And I'm happy that way because I've got nothing to lose. The police really, really need to ask themselves the question, what's more important, right or wrong? Because the way you're policing right now is not right, it's not just. You took an oath to protect people. Now you're doing the opposite for a paycheck. I've no doubt a lot of you are doing it for fun as well because you do enjoy it. A lot of police do it because they got bullied at school so they get payback. I understand that. But on a human level, people need to pick a side.
And I will not listen to those who exploit grieving families and disrespect local.
No grieving families were exploited. They were, however, ignored by you. So were a lot of grieving families over the past couple of weeks. You've acknowledged virtually, even to the point where you tried to turn up at Southampton for a photo opportunity and got chased out. You were not wanted there. You were to blame. And what was it they were shouting? How many more of our children have to die, Keir? Not one answer from you. So don't you make the fucking British people the fucking criminals. It is you.
Communities. But these riots didn't happen in a vacuum. They exposed the state of our country. revealed a deeply unhealthy society, the cracks in our foundations laid bare, weakened by a decade of division and decline.
It's been longer than a decade. And who created the division and the decline? Who's to blame for that? Again, you're arguing against yourselves.
Infected by a spiral of populism which fed off cycles of failure of the last government.
Yes, it did. Cycle from the failings of the last government. But it also highlighted your failings, your shortcomings, and it exposed you for who you are. It really did expose you.
Every time they faced a difficult problem, they failed to be honest. They offered the snake oil of populism, which led to more failure, round and round.
Gaslight much?
Round and round, stuck in the rut of the politics of performance. I saw the beginning of that downward spiral firsthand back in 2011, when riots ripped through London and across the country. I was then Director of Public Prosecutions. And when I think back to that time, I see just how far we have fallen. Because responding to those riots was hard. Of course it was. But dealing with the riots this summer was much harder.
How was the riots in 2020? How was the riots in Hare Hills a couple of weeks before this one kicked off? You know, he's not going to mention them ones, is he? I wonder why. And they were violent. What was it, 29 officers injured? And the amount of fires, burning buses, buildings. Yeah. No fast-track jails there, no 24-hour courts, no arrest, court and sentencing in 3 days then, was there? There is a reason we call you Tia Keir, or Keir Starmer.
Back in 2011, I didn't doubt that the courts could do what they needed to do.
Yeah, shut down, not fit for purpose. There was a judge. Let's see how illegal this is, right? When you go to court, the judge presides over the court in judgment. So it is his judgment if you're guilty. In certain cases, you've got a jury. But where there's no jury, it goes on the judge's judgment, right? Now, you had I think it was a 61-year-old ex-veteran who got, I can't remember how many months he got in prison, despite the judge saying that he couldn't quite understand it because he was the one there causing the least trouble. He couldn't see that he did anything wrong. Right. So when you make a statement like that, you've made a judgment where the defendant's done nothing wrong. Would you agree with me on that? Yet, still handed down a custodial sentence because he had to by the powers that be. So, in that instance, and I'm assuming in all instances, the judge is not making the judgment. The judge is not making the decision. And the decision is not legal. You can challenge me on that. Any legal experts out there, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong and tell me why. But as far as I'm aware, if in the judge's own judgment doesn't believe you did anything wrong, is he then within a legal right to sentence you to a custodial sentence for something he deems not wrong? Come back at me with that. And also, this new CPS guy, or whatever he is, he was on the news on about sharing Twitter posts and Facebook posts and the likes. And he stated that even sharing these posts could get you a prison sentence. Although you may think you're doing nothing wrong, you are breaking the law. Where also them same legal people come back to me with this and correct me if I'm wrong. But for you to break the law, don't you need intention and knowledge of breaking said law? If there is no intention or knowledge of breaking the law, are you committing an offence? Because I don't believe you are. And I believe he openly stated a lie.
This time, to be honest with you, I genuinely didn't know. Let me tell you this, every day of that disorder, literally every day, we had to check the precise number of prison places and where those places were.
Well, that says a lot about your priorities, doesn't it? What you were thinking of. Instead of checking the prison spaces and how many they were and where they were, you should have been looking for ways to find a resolution. And your resolution would have been really simple: to come out and acknowledge the British people. That's all you had to do. Even if you pretended to listen, that would have been a start. But it says everything when your main focus of every day of the riots was to check the prisons. And while we're on that, releasing prisoners to fill the jails again with non-prisoners is a little bit stupid somewhat, isn't it? Why is it so important for you to put people who post Facebook messages, Facebook posts, even just sharing a meme for 20 plus months prison sentences, yet letting rapists and child molesters go? Why do people like you protect sex offenders? That's not an accusation, that is a genuine question. Why do people in positions of power like you protect sex offenders? It perplexes me. I know what I think, but I better not say it. But if your priority is checking the jails, and what message are you sending? I think it was Joe Biden, wasn't it, when not long after he got in power, openly come out and said that the US had no ammunition. And he was condemned and ridiculed, because the last thing you do is let your enemies know that you're in trouble, because you open yourself up to attack. Now, what you did was you've come out and told the whole criminal class of the population that we are struggling with jail, and you're giving them carte blanche to go and commit the most heinous of acts because there are no repercussions. And you reinforce that there's no repercussions. You are making the UK lawless. And my question is, why? What is your agenda? Why are you trying to destroy the UK? Because no matter which way you look at it, that is exactly how it looks. And in my eyes, that's exactly how it is. You do not inform people. You pretty much give them the message, do what you want because we've got no jail space. And you know what? Out of all this, I've heard you mention building 1.5 million homes or whatever and finding places for your communities to stay. I've never once heard you address the prison crisis with building new prisons. Or there are multiple thousands of prison spaces being taken up, which we can sort out straight away. There is a simple solution to a lot of them prison spaces. But you won't acknowledge any of them. You are an adult, I'm assuming. You're in the position of running a country, which, how baffles me. I wouldn't trust you with a bunny dog. I really wouldn't. But when it come to a prison crisis, you did not think of deportation. You did not think of building more prisons. You took the toddler approach and said, what? Our prisons are full? Let's release the criminals. What's the worst that could happen? Well, I'll tell you what, when we've released the criminals and we've made space for more criminals, we'll let the criminals go and we'll put in Facebook posters. Now, that sounds like a comedy sketch, doesn't it? But that is literally what you have said. That is literally what you have done.
To make sure that we could arrest, charge and prosecute people quickly. Not having enough prison places is about as fundamental a failure as you can get.
Not building more is even worse. Releasing criminals rather than looking at other avenues which are there for you.
And those people throwing rocks, torching cars...
Oh, now he
making
talks about
threats.
BLM.
They didn't just know the system was broken. They were betting on it, gaming it.
Wrong, Keir. 100% wrong.
They thought, they'll never arrest me. And if they do, I won't be prosecuted. And if I am, I won't get much of a sentence. They saw the cracks in our society after 14 years of failure, and they exploited them. That's what we inherited. Not just an economic black hole, a societal black hole. And that's why we have to take action and do things differently.
My sentiments exactly. Bye.
And part of that is being honest with people about the choices that we face.
Do you know what honesty means? I don't think you've said an honest word in your life, have you?
How tough this will be. And frankly, things will get worse before they get better.
Cheers for the morale boost.
I didn't want to release prisoners early.
Fuck off.
I was chief prosecutor for 5 years. It goes against the grain of everything I've ever done.
I'm not even commenting on it.
But to be blunt, if we hadn't taken that difficult decision immediately, we wouldn't have been able to respond to the riots as we did.
The riots calmed down naturally. The riots only perpetuated because you had a certain group going out after them, along with your police force. They were working hand in hand. Now, if you're saying this is your response to the riots have been quiet for a long time, yet you are still knocking down doors and arresting people. Keir, this isn't a response. And you know for a fact it isn't. This is an attack, not a response. None of what you did was reactionary.
If we don't take tough action across the board, we won't be able to fix the foundations of the country as we need. I didn't want to means test the winter fuel payment, but it was a choice that we had to make.
How much does your little project cost in the UK? Far more than pensioners' winter fuel costs, isn't it?
A choice to protect the most vulnerable pensioners while doing what is necessary to repair the public finances. Because pensioners also rely on a functioning NHS, good public transport, strong national infrastructure.
His point. He's talking like he's fixed it.
They want their children to be able to buy homes.
I want my children to be able to walk home without being attacked.
They want their grandchildren to get a good education. So we have made that difficult decision to mend the public finances so everyone benefits in the long term.
That's great, thanks, Keir. Them poor pensioners. You know, pensioners make a sacrifice in the short term and then you can reap the rewards in the long term. And pensioners be like, sorry, God, can you wait a little bit longer? I'm just waiting for my reward. Because the past 10 years have been...
Including pensioners. Now, that is a difficult trade-off, and there will be more to come. I won't shy away from making unpopular decisions now.
Fucking hate that.
Fred, I would shy away from calling it what
I wish you would.
If it's the right thing for the country in the long term.
Right thing for the country coming from him.
That's what a government of service means. This shouldn't be a country where people fear walking down their street.
Finally, he gets it.
Their TVs showing cars and buildings.
Chuck the fucking TV out the bastard window. There's nothing good on it. News, TV programs, movies, all there to indoctrinate you. Get rid of it. It is fucking evil. That's why we have so many stupid people.
Being set on fire. This shouldn't be a country where the Prime Minister can't guarantee prison places. This shouldn't be a country where people are paying thousands more on their mortgage.
But you are guaranteeing prison places just for non-criminals.
Or waiting months for hospital appointments they desperately need.
Again, why are people waiting for hospital appointments? Why do people even need hospital appointments so much? You like foundations? Ask foundational questions.
Where our waters are filled with sewage.
You're selling us poisoned food. And you've got a hard-on about water?
Where parents worry that their kids won't get the opportunities that they did. Where nothing seems to work anymore. So when I talk about the inheritance the last government left us, the £22 billion black hole in our finances.
Hang on, 22 billion, was that it? For some reason I had in my head that it was 200 and something billion. 22 billion. You give more than that away in a week. And this is your excuse? This is what's so devastating that's going to take years to build up, where we have to suffer for 22 billion? I know that seems like an awful lot. But when you put it on a when you put it on a countrywide scale, like I said, the taxpayer pays around about 827 billion per year. And he's using this as the foothold for you suffering with tax increases for the next God knows how many years.
That isn't about a line on a graph.
No, why not?
That's about people's lives. Your lives. And the Tories are still not being honest. They know their recklessness cost them the election, but they won't accept the cost that they've inflicted on the country. And they won't apologise for what they've cost you. They're just still thinking about themselves. Now, this government won't always be perfect.
Oh, shit.
But I promise you this, you will be at the heart of it, in the forefront of our minds, at the centre of everything that we do. And that's what...
As the enemy.
I wanted to invite you here today to show that decent, hard-working people who make up the backbone of this country belong here. This is a government for you. A garden and a building that were once used for lockdown parties. Remember the pictures just over there? Of
the digs. The fucking digs. Wait up. What was more distressing to the British public? Parties during lockdown in a back garden? Or prisoner people with Facebook crimes? And ignoring the deaths of our children and letting violent thugs run around the streets, stabbing people and releasing rapists and sex offenders? But these fuckers had a bottle of wine. Weak. It's the same. I'm very US orientated because I know I follow US politics because these fuckers are a joke. But whatever happens in the US comes global. It does spread out worldwide, especially in Europe and stuff. And when you look at the left in all these countries, look at the Democrats in the US like Kamala Harris and that, what a fucking joke they are. If they get into power, that's very much fucking stolen mind. Because when you look at the political landscape at the minute, they have no chance. Even their own lefts are turning against them. And I believe we need the right person in US government to help us with this.
And the food. Well, this garden, this building are now back in your service. It's not just that the last government relied on easy gimmicks and bad ideas. Those things happened precisely because the government itself lost its focus on the hopes and ambitions of working people. During those recent riots, I made huge asks of the police.
Yeah, you fucking did. And they bent over and obliged. Oh, thank you, Keir. Some of them bent over way too far because it brought 2 tears to their eyes.
The criminal justice system. People already stretched to the limit. They knew I was making big asks of them.
Which I'm going to bring this up and all. The Notting Hill Carnival, every year we have issues. But when I checked, the first day we had was 3 or 4 stabbings and 90 arrests. Mainstream media and Keir Starmer in crickets. It's accepted. How many people were stabbed during these riots by UK people? I can't find any mention of any, can you?
And I'm not going to apologise for it. But let me tell you this. They delivered. They deserve our gratitude. And that's why I went to Southport.
He went to Southport and was chased out. And he left with his tail between his legs.
To Lambeth.
I don't know what he did in Lambeth.
To Belfast.
To call all the Irish people racist. English racist. Irish racist. My job is done.
To thank them personally. To shake the hands of the first responders.
Thank you for being my stormtroopers. Hope it is.
Who rose up to the ask I was making of them.
What a big ask.
They deserve a government that trusts them.
We deserve a government we can trust.
Supports them. And works with them.
Yeah. You're not doing yourself any favours, are you?
That is the sort of government that we will be.
When? When the are you going to be that?
One that works with people, not does things to them.
Did you hear that? Words are words. Anybody could say words. But the actions have to match. Because the actions tell more of the truth than what words do.
One that believes in hard graft, not gimmicks.
Yeah, you don't work weekends. You don't work after a certain time at night, I don't think. Hard graft.
Honest about the challenges we face.
You've already lost.
And working tirelessly to fix them. And that is how we will always work.
No, it isn't.
Now, next week, Parliament returns.
Whoa, more criminals in one place.
The business of politics will resume.
I'm not even saying anything.
But it won't be business as usual, because we can't go on like this anymore. Things will have to be done differently.
Even your lighting's not consistent.
We will do the hard work to root out 14 years of rot, reverse a decade of decline, and fix the foundations. Between now and Christmas, we will carry on as we've started. Action, not words.
Read between the lines.
We will introduce legislation.
Oh, more pretendy laws.
Take decisions to protect taxpayers' money, to take on the blockers by accelerating planning to build homes and boost growth.
Are you building any prisons? It appears to me we need some prisons. Houses is good, but you then run into another problem. You build 1 million houses and then release 1 million criminals, you may as well not have built 1 million houses. Could have built a bigger prison.
We will forward this autumn to harness the full potential of AI.
Ha! AI, you say? Digital ID? Face recognition? Tracking? Really? Is that what we're going for, Keir? Damn, you surprised me, boy. Big surprise, isn't it? Never mind going after AI. We don't need artificial... Actually, yes, we do. We need artificial intelligence to mature. Because there's fucking no actual intelligence at all, is there? So, yeah, Keir, bring on the artificial intelligence, mate. We need something. I can't believe I just called him mate. I feel dirty.
Growth and for the public good. We'll bring rail service into public ownership.
So, when they're not on strike, the train service in my area is pretty reliable normally. They're not often late. The bus service, on the other hand, is atrocious. But now they've nationalised the trains and not just the railways, you can now guarantee that the trains are going to be late if they turn up at all now. So, yeah, cheers for that.
Putting passengers first. The biggest levelling up of workers' rights in a generation.
And, like I said before, the money the train drivers are on now, everybody get a fucking job on the trains. Fucking rolling in it. You know, we can clear this 22 billion off in a fucking week. Just get the train drivers and chip in.
To give people security, dignity and respect at work. And Great British Energy will be owned by the taxpayer, making money for the taxpayer.
More wind farms that cost more to run than what they generate.
Producing clean energy and creating good jobs. That is our focus for the
Creating good jobs. What they do and getting people to spin the fucking blades.
rest of the year. But I will be honest with you.
That'll be a first.
There is a budget coming in October.
Ah! A budget, you say? Please, tell me more.
And it's going to be painful.
Ooh, painful. Didn't expect that. It's a bit harsh. Rough, I can take. But painful? It's,
We have no other choice, given the situation that we're in.
yeah, because it's 22 billion unaccounted for. Or is it that he's just ended all the strikes by giving everyone stupid raises, what the government couldn't afford? No, that can't be it.
Those with the broadest shoulders should bear the heavier burden.
Those with the broadest shoulders, the big corporations and the millionaires. Coincidentally, these are the same people who are having a mass exodus from the UK because of this new tax promise. So the people that did pay the largest majority are now toddling off to other countries. In marvellous son. He's fucking good in mind, isn't he?
That's why we're cracking down on non-doms. Made the mess, should have to do their bit to clean it up.
We're going to hold to that. We keep receipts, Keir. We do keep receipts. So that statement right there, I'm going to do a little gif of that.
And that's why we're strengthening the powers of the water regulator and backing tough fines on the water companies that let sewage flood our rivers, lakes and seas. But just as when I responded to the riots, I'll have to turn to the country and make big asks of you as well.
Okay.
To accept short-term pain for long-term good.
How about no? How about you're on your own? How about what a cheeky bastard?
The difficult trade-off for the genuine solution.
Dude, You haven't shown me any solution. Not one solution. You've literally told me everything the British people's done wrong, everything you've done right, that you're going to make it painful for us in the next budget. And the only plus that is not a plus is the rail system up. You still haven't fixed the NHS. You've got pretendy energy things. And you're fining water companies. Forgive my stupidity, but where's the solutions?
And I know that after all that you have been through, that is a really big ask and really difficult to hear. That is not the position we should be in. It's not the position I want to be in. But we have to end the politics of the easy answer that solves nothing. But I also know that we can get through this together.
No, you're on your own, pal.
Because the riots didn't just betray the sickness, they also revealed the cure, found not in the cynical conflict of populism, but in the coming together of a country.
Hold on. I need to grasp this. The riots give us a cure of the coming together of a country. You do understand the country hasn't come together, it's driven further apart. You do know that, right? You are governing the right country, aren't you? You are reading the right newspapers. You're getting the right briefings. The country is not coming together. It is the furthest apart it's ever been.
The people who got together the morning after, all around the country, with their brooms, their shovels, their trowels, and
who did the same in the Hay Hills riots and the BLM riots too. The more you know. I'll get a little star that comes up there.
cleared up their community. They reminded us who we really are.
Stupid, they got free cleaners. You're doing the government's job. Stop it.
I felt real pride
Fuck, you've never fucking experienced pride.
in those people who cleaned up our streets, rebuilt the walls, repaired the damage. And I couldn't help thinking about the obvious parallels. Because imagine the pride we will feel as a nation when, after the hard work of clearing up, the mess is done.
You got parallels from that? The street's a mess. Go out and clean it up. It's exactly the same as a non-solution and an answer to a non-question. That's fixed, not fixed, hard, easy, painful. Yeah, you lost me, pal. I've done it again. Oh, I need a shower.
We have a country that we have built together, built to love.
Dude, you did not build this country. Mate, you're that DEI brickie that waits for a proper brickie to put a brick on, and you pull a fucking brick out. You disassembled and made it harder for the real people who build the country.
That belongs to every single one of us, and all of us have a stake in it. Our hard work rewarded 12 times over, because we'll have an economy that works for everyone.
Dude, who was your dealer? Because you're on some good.
An NHS not just back on its feet, but fit for the future.
Until they pass that legislation where the NHS no longer have to treat you if they deem you to be a racist. You don't have to be racist, because what we've learned, you just have to be called one. That's how they will get the queues down in the NHS, by refusing treatment. Which, if I'm not wrong, goes against the Hippocratic Oath, doesn't it? I think that's right. But yeah.
Streets that everyone feels safe in.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen. You can't even walk on the streets.
No longer dependent on foreign dictators.
No, we've got a fucking English one.
Because we're producing our own clean energy right here.
Does this guy actually believe you could run a country on wind farms? What other clean energy has he got? There's wind farms, there's solar, which produce very little energy and are not cost effective at all to run. Not only are we going to be skint, I'm starting to get the feeling it's going to be cold and dark as well.
And giving every child, wherever they come from,
their very own paedophile. There to look after them when you go to work. So you think they're messing about, you think they're safe, you know your kids are...
Whatever their background, the chance to go as far as their talents will take them.
Look, Mum, I'm a microwave. I'm going to chop me willy off and call myself Sandra. And you don't get to say it.
I won't lose sight of that prize. I won't lose sight of what we were elected to do.
Dude, you've already lost sight. It's that far in the fucking distance. Everybody's lost sight of it.
And most importantly, I won't lose sight of the people that we were elected to do it for.
The ones in prison. Oh, you're not talking about us, right? Gotcha. I was going to say, I thought we were all in prison.
You.
No.
This is our country. Let's fix it together.
Yeah, let's not. We fix it, you fuck off.
Thank you very much.
For that. That was a lot of nothing, wasn't it?
Now I've got a number of questions from the media, and I'll start, if I may, with Vicky Young from BBC
Why
News.
are you such...
Vicky Young, BBC News.
Oh,
Prime Minister,
BBC.
you say that you want to be open with people, but some will think that you weren't honest during the election campaign about changes.
I'm
to,
sorry,
for
guys,
example,
I'm not listening to
winter
any more of
fuel
this.
allowance. Many now want to know what the...
Like I said, I do get a little passionate at these things, so, yeah. Anyway, guys, on that, leave me a like. If you like to support me, leave me a like, leave me a comment, and all the good stuff that goes along with it. And I'll catch you in another video. That's if this video gets out. Because it's YouTube, and I'm speaking against the establishment, so you probably won't even get to see this video anyway, so fuck it. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.